G'day from Caretta Brianza, small town just north of Monza, where this weekend we had the Italian Grand Prix and it was a mighty event. Max Verstappen clocking his 10th win in a row, a world record, and perhaps even more impressive, Carlos Sainz making the podium here in Italy. And my gosh, the scenes post-race were amazing. I'll tell you more about that and a whole host of things I saw in the paddock in 8 seconds' time. I love the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, and I particularly love the end of the day celebration, where I'm guessing about half to 2/3 of the crowd actually end up on the main pit straight. It's an absolutely phenomenal sight. How did all these people get on there? Well, there's a gate on the main straight that's opened up about 250 metres away from the podium, and they sprint down with great enthusiasm, hoping to get the prime spot right underneath the podium. The big flags that you see, well, they come from the inside of the track, whereas most of the spectators come from the outside. I was fortunate to be on the second level of the pit building, which meant I had this glorious view both of the podium to my left and the crowd streaming from the right. Of course, Carlos Sainz was their hero, and when he came out, they went absolutely crazy. And then Sergio and Max were introduced, and to be fair, there was very little booing, which was great to see. Now, as you probably realise, flares are strictly prohibited. Didn't stop anyone though. There were plenty down there waving those stinky things about, ruining a lot of shots of the photographers. Here's my shot of Max holding up his trophy. Nothing to see here. But in general, looking down at the crowd, I picked out a few things. I love this guy here with his DRS sign. I found Jerry Horner giving her husband a hug for his part in the magnificent 10th win in a row of Max. I thought these Red Bull guys were pretty cheeky, proudly displaying their pit board sign to the crowd. And then we got onto the spraying of the bubbly. Well, Perez here was actually just pouring it over the people below. Now, this is the only track where spectators can get directly below the podium, and that's because it's out over the track. After the podium celebrations, the drivers then left the podium, but about 45 minutes later, there was a huge roar. Now, I could see all this from my desk in the media centre, and I'm figuring there's probably 15,000 people still on the track 45 minutes after the race, all cheering for Charles Leclerc. Maybe 10 minutes later, there's another roar, an even bigger roar for Carlos. So at that point, I decided to grab my kit and go down there. I think I was the only freelance photographer out there, right behind Carlos, watching him take a selfie with the crowd, and perhaps more impressively, watching this crowd go absolutely crazy. It was a fair crush. There's no doubting this crowd is fanatical. I had the Ferrari popes, or bishops, whatever you like to call them, found them out on track one day. It was crazy in the paddock on Sunday, with a real crush for Carlos coming in, and he actually had a police escort, and both of the drivers came in their Ferraris back to back. They were dropped just metres from the swipe gates and then had to endure the crowd as they made their way to the hospitality suite. A couple of other things Ferrari related. This sign grabbed my eye and caused a bit of a stir on social media. Felipe World Champion 2008. Where were the Ferrari drivers staying? They were staying at Hotel de la Ville, where a number of drivers stayed. I had dinner there on Wednesday night and saw Logan Sargent signing a few autographs. And then a few seconds later, Carlos left for a function. But come Saturday and Sunday, there would have been several hundred people staking out the exit of the hotel, hoping to catch a glimpse of those two Ferrari drivers. Oh, and this fan here had some interesting Carlos chili fingernails. Now, as an aside, I was on a flight recently and I couldn't get YouTube to work from the plane's Wi-Fi until I logged in via Surfshark. And I don't know why, but that was the secret. And if you're looking for a VPN, you cannot go past Surfshark. It's an app and a browser extension that allows you to position your device anywhere in the world. That's important for someone like me that travels a lot, because in some places we can't access certain websites, apps, and social media platforms. Even when I'm overseas, I can log on using Surfshark from whatever country I like and access those sites. Plus, if you have access to a streaming site, you'll find a whole new array of content if you log on from various countries. How would you like an exclusive Surfshark deal? If the answer is yes, click on the link in the description below and get an extra 3 months for free using the promo code Kim. What are you waiting for? Do it straight after this video. Let's move on to other things. Do you know this fellow? This is Gianmarco Tamburri. He's the Olympic high jump record holder, and on Sunday, for some reason, he jumped a car. A little later on, he waved the checkered flag for Max Verstappen. And on the subject of Max, he was very hard to catch this weekend. He had the shortest walk from the swipe gates to the hospitality suite, so he was out in the open for a very short time. But my gosh, his performance on track is flawless, and congratulations to him on his magnificent 10th win in a row. Is there anything stopping him? This race we also had the release of the F2 car for 2024 and the release of the 33 Stradale. What a glorious piece of equipment this is. This is the new Alfa Romeo. There are only 33 in the world. I can tell you one is going to Australia. It's not being sold. It's already sold. And how much is it? Well, apparently we're not going to know. Only those who've bought them know the price. Lance Stroll's ear, how's it looking? Well, he's got a smaller bandage than he had last race, but I did note on Thursday, I think it was, that it was looking a little bit weepy, and I suggest that's still got some time to go before it fully heals. We had filming of the Apex movie at the track. Once again, we had no actors because of that strike in Hollywood, but certainly there was a lot of crew there. There were cars on track, and an interesting plot twist, which I can't tell you about, unfortunately. Going back about a year ago, my male to female ratio on Instagram was 15% female, 85% male. Well, today it's 34% female, 66% male. And I think that's playing out in terms of my posts of women, which you seem to devour. And one of my most popular posts on the weekend was this picture of Oscar and his girlfriend Lily. A lot of you saying she looks very young. Well, she's the same age as Oscar. And if you watched my recent Wives and Girlfriends video, you'll know that she has a university degree. Other ladies in the paddock this weekend of note, well, we had Pierre Gasly's girlfriend Kika. She is enormously popular. I found her reading a book out on the deck of the Alpine Hospitality Suite. And what book was she reading? This one, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F***. And she's reading that in English for her vocabulary. Valtteri's girlfriend Tiffany Cromwell was with us, as was Kelly Piquet. Sister-wise, we had Chloe, who is the sister of Alex, and Yuki's sister Nico, who's not at too many races. She joined her parents, Nobuaki and Minako, to support Yuki, and Lando's dad Adam was there. Jackie Stewart's a dad, and he had his son Paul with him to celebrate his 50 years since his last F1 title. And yes, if you're after a Jackie print, there are a handful left here at my store. Fashion-wise, we had Lewis in an array of outfits again. Lando Norris arrived in team merch one day. Max Verstappen, yeah, not much fashion-wise there. Max is very predictable. Interesting shoes I saw in the paddock and will feature in my Instagram post. And of course, the two AlphaTauri guys wore in some colourful AlphaTauri clothing. Always like photographing Nico. You never know what you're going to get. And I got him running as a joke on Sunday. Although he did stop because he dropped his mobile phone and had to go back and pick it up. Here's F1 TV presenter Will Buxton having a yawn for something different. And we saw a little bit of towel whipping from the crew of Aston Martin. And why was somebody getting towel whipped? Well, apparently one guy stole another guy's Coke. One of my regular Insta posts after each race is watches of the paddock. As usual, an array of them, although this watch, not looking too good, the Rolex clock, getting some condensation in it. I don't think you'd find that in your wristwatch. Well, if you did, you'd have to have it serviced. I mentioned popular posts before, but I want to point out two that surprised me. This one, Mattia Bonotto. Just a simple picture of the man. My biggest post of the weekend. Lots of interesting comments there. Some a bit nasty, some quite funny. And the other post was this one with Logan Sargent. Logan typically doesn't get a huge response on social, but this one struck a nerve with him coming in with his trainer's son and trainer's wife trailing behind. Celebrity-wise, not an abundance of them. We had Kabi Lame, who's quite a character. Gordon Ramsay, a real regular this year with his daughter Holly. Footballer Olivia Giroud. And Jerry Halliwell, Horner, wife of Christian. And to round things off, Liam Lawson. Let's talk a little bit about him. I've been most impressed with the way he handles himself at the track and on the track. This weekend qualifying 12th and finishing 11th. He's doing his chances of a full-time drive, no harm at all, performing so well. He's also the only driver in the paddock to have two helpers. He's got his British trainer Matt Tate with him, and also Piru Salmela, who was working with Daniel, prior to that with Nick, prior to that with Pierre. Now he's working with Liam, but obviously sharing those responsibilities with Matt, who knows Liam a lot better than Piru. Now on a photography side, my most interesting pics I thought were these, some multi-exposure shots where you do 3, 4, 5, 6 different shots on the same frame, getting a rather unusual effect. And then Monza is one of the only tracks in the world where we can position ourselves above the pit boxes and shoot pit stops on race day. And I did that on this race, covering Ferrari, McLaren and Mercedes. And this image here I'm now offering as a limited edition signed print, not by Carlos, by me. It's such a glorious, iconic photo, a Ferrari pit stop in Monza. You'll find them at kimillman.com, and you can have them A3 or A2. Now, I've done my bit now. All I'm asking you is to go and click on the like button, please, and subscribe for the 50% of you watching who aren't yet subscribed. You'll find my digital images at prostarpics.com, wall art, signed prints, drivers, photo books and merchandise at kimillman.com. And for my best images live from the track and during the week, head over to Instagram and search at Kim Illman. Thanks for watching.
And stay passionate.
Just don't put anything about that.